Hi, welcome to Short Film Showcase. I'm your host, Katherine Cook, and today I have with me Mike Messier of The Impeccable. How's it going?
Hey, thanks, Catherine. Good to be here. Good, really good.
Good. I'm glad. It's good to see you. Haven't seen you in years.
Yeah, it's been a while. I used to live up in Rhode Island, and I actually used to come into the studio quite a bit for the Messier Mantra, and before that, I guess the first version of the short film showcase. So I'm really happy to see Cody and Kevin and yourself and Deb are putting this new short film showcase together, and happy to be here as a guest. I think it's really cool.
Well, hopefully I live up to the shoes that you that you created for Short Film Showcase.
Well, I think you're doing great. I think it's the whole idea of the show is to help independent filmmakers from New England, especially, get their works to new audiences. So as long as that's happening, I think it's a great thing, and I think you'll do wonderful.
Well, thank you. So speaking of short films from formerly New England filmmakers, tell me about The Impeccable.
Well, The Impeccable was actually filmed in Rhode Island. It was filmed actually on the Rhode Island-Massachusetts line, like in the Burrillville area. My DP, director of photography and editor, Tim Labonte, secured the location for us. And the actresses were both from Massachusetts. Ashley Shea at the time was in Boston, although she's moved down south herself. And Naria Zakarian was from the Newton, Boston area. And Adam Lamframbays, he was, I believe, from New Hampshire, Vermont area, like the line, right over the line into Vermont, I think, is where Adam was from. Okay. So it was a very New England-based short film. We filmed it on May 5th, 2018. Probably, for me, the first time filming a movie that had some type of relationship to a holiday, Cinco de Mayo. And, it was interesting to shoot it on Cinco de Mayo and have it referenced that way. And then I think a year later, we actually had a screening of it on Cinco de Mayo 2019. So that was kind of nice.
Okay, so.
And the piece originally.
I was going to say, so in terms of Cinco de Mayo, because there was some talk about immigration in there. So did you tie in Cinco de Mayo? Is Cinco de Mayo, you said Cinco de Mayo, but is that part of the themes to it?
Well, a little bit. I mean, the character of the aunt, Clarice, mentions that it's Cinco de Mayo in the opening part of the dialogue. So it's mentioned. And the characters, I don't know if I want to give away too much, but the characters are presented in a way that they are privileged. And so there's some undercurrents of racism with these characters. So when she mentions Cinco de Mayo, it's not in a positive way. It's like an annoyance to her because her housekeeper has the day off. And so as people see in this film, and they can draw their own conclusions, this is kind of an eat the rich piece. I'm trying to put people of privilege into a light that maybe they wouldn't be comfortable with.
Okay, so then what inspired the film?
I had originally written this piece as a stage play for something called Play in a Day, which was a festival up in the Massachusetts area. I'm trying to remember the exact town, that my friend Michael Gonza put together. And he had 6 short plays in one night, and the actors had basically 12 hours to get cast and then prepare for this thing. So it was a pretty wild festival. And, Mike gave the writers instructions to write write very simple pieces. Like, don't get too complex, because the actors aren't going to have a whole lot of time with these scripts. So, of course, I ignored that instruction and wrote the most complicated thing I could write, with a heavy emphasis on the dialogue for the Clarice character that Ashley Shea plays. I guess I had been told what actors I'd be writing for in advance. And I kind of looked at Ashley's resume and her bio. She's very accomplished, and her husband's a theater director, and she really looked like she was a great actress just based on her headshots and stuff. And I said, if this lady has a sense of humor, I'm just going to give her a really hard role and something that is kind of advanced, and she nailed it. She really nailed it. The other actors that were cast with her in this adventure of the 24-hour stage play, maybe not so much. I mean, I think and no discredit to them, because as an actor myself, I'd have a hard time pulling off those other roles too. But of the three actors from the stage play, only Ashley is the one that I kept. She suggested we work together on something, and pretty quickly in my mind, I went through the backlog of scripts that I've already written, and I remembered that the Impeccable could kind of work with her as the niece, and some references to her, ethnicity or being from a foreign country or something like that. That could be kind of worked in there. And I definitely wanted to keep Ashley as the aunt. And then the third role of Henry was a little bit interesting, because initially I had cast a friend of mine, but unfortunately he had other commitments. And so we had to recast, and I put an open casting out in New England, and about half a dozen guys sent me video auditions, and there was two that were really close, but eventually I went with Adam, and I'm glad I did, because I feel like he brought a lot of life to Henry.
Yeah.
And people compare him to a young Willem Dafoe. He looks a lot like him in the face.
He really does. I was looking at that thinking, he really looks familiar. Who is that? And then I thought, oh, Green Goblin.
Yeah. He looks like he could be Willem's son, or I don't know, grandson, maybe just son. But Adam, I think, did a great job, and this piece has won 5 awards, I think, for the poster. I think Ashley won from the Alternative Film Festival. She won the Best Actress in her category when we entered that. Naria Zakarian has won 2 acting awards, one from the Shauna Shea Film Festival for Best Supporting Actress, and then something called the Miss Actress Universe contest. I believe from Europe, actually. They gave her an award, like second place of all the films and all the performances they had for actresses. Naria got the second place for that.
That's awesome.
So
with that, I think that's a great segue into the film, so everyone can see The Impeccable.
Oh, I just can't believe. Maids Union. Maids Day Off. Cinco de Mayo. Who ever heard of a Maids Union and a Maids Day Off? Denise. My niece.
Let her in, Clarice.
But the place, Henry, it's just awful.
Let her in.
Must we?
We must.
I see you two have already, That damn maid. Yeah, I really think that we should just...
Please, Clarice. Don't worry.
It's just... Henry, it's just that that damn maid should be here. They shouldn't just allow those people to just take any day off they want to. I have company, for heaven's sake, and I mustn't be delivering tea to my guests.
Dear, calm down.
Don't tell me to calm down.
Just relax. Have a little fun. Your niece is here.
Oh, yes, she is.
Yes, I am here. And I want to thank you, Auntie.
Thank me? For what?
Wow, the donuts were always my favorite.
Yes. Well. Damn maid. Yeah, they shouldn't give those people the day off. But you enjoyed them? The donuts?
Yes, very much. They remind me of my mother. She loves those donuts. The strawberry ones especially.
There's a day off for everything these days. Labor Day. Union Day. People's Day. VJ Day.
What's that?
Oh, it's some special war day they only celebrate here in little old Rhode Island. Can you imagine?
I can't.
Can't what?
Oh, I was just saying.
Oh, we were just speaking of private lady matters, my dear.
Really?
Yes, really. We were speaking the way schoolgirls do when the football team is in the locker room, in the showers. We were speaking like schoolgirls.
Really? You vixen. Your niece is here.
Oh. Nothing she hasn't seen before, I'm sure. On the television, at least. Right, my dearie?
Right, Auntie. On television.
And that's how my little niece here learned English, you know? From the television.
Really? I do find myself fascinated by your accent. It's exotic, yes?
Yes.
Yes. She was just a little girl, and her mother, who spoke very poor, very broken English.
Not so bad.
Oh, very bad, very bad. Well, her mother would plop little Dinah down in front of the set and just let her watch the daily shows all day, every day, while she was off paramounting about the neighborhood.
My mother did not paramount.
Oh, she most certainly did. And while she was indeed paramounting, who would watch this little brat? I would.
Well, really, it's all right. She is your niece, right?
By marriage only. Dinah's mother, Deborah. Real name, DeVille. An immigrant. Was my poor departed brother Andrew's widow. Andrew, as I've told you, was my favorite of all my 6 siblings.
Yes, you've spoken of him many times, my lovely. Andrew, the piano player.
My poor brother. God rest his soul. He didn't stand a chance. He saw a thin veil over a mail-order bride and coughed up his last dollar to bring her home as a prize. Like the fools at the county fair, tossing rings on bowling pins, trying to win a stuffed donkey.
My mother was no stuffed donkey.
Oh, wasn't she?
You and my mother were once friends. You were like sisters, she told me.
I don't have a sister.
Actually, I thought you told me you had 3.
I've had one woman in my life I could fully trust, and I see her every day in the mirror. Deborah DeVille, your mother, was a hoot. And I hope you did not inherit her hootness.
Really, Clarice? You've lost it, my dear.
My mother was not quite born into privilege. She married her way into it, as women did in those times. And when her husband, my father, died, well, she dealt with the equation. She did the math to equal her involvement, to provide for me and my siblings. And you, your mother, a bit of a conniver, a bitch at times, but a bitch I could somehow respect. And you, Denise, my dear niece, you've had a rather easy lot, haven't you? Huh? You don't know what it's like to claw, to beg, to steal. And it might be said, you don't know what it's like to even live. Just a bit.
How are you, Denise? Little Dana. Holding up well?
It's odd for me to see you like this.
It's okay. It's fun.
Fun.
It'll be over soon enough.
It's been 6 months since Halloween. You've missed Thanksgiving, you've missed Christmas, you've missed...
It's all right. It's quite an interesting setup. Be over before you know it. I might even miss it.
Sparky misses you?
The old boy. You taking him out twice a day?
Often.
Every day?
Often twice.
Often or all?
Often. But always at least once.
Has to be 2 times a day. That's my boy. He likes the beach. He likes to run. If I'm not there, you take him on the beach for a run. No collar. If the cops come, if anyone makes a complaint, you pay the fine. You pay them off. Sparky doesn't wear a collar on the beach, you understand?
Yes.
Dogs weren't meant to wear collars. Slaves were. We don't treat Sparky like he's some slave, do we?
No. We don't.
Very good. Dinner.
I just don't understand how you're living with her. She's a cruel woman.
She's a good woman. It's a good thrill.
A good thrill.
Yeah, she could teach you some things. Some fun things.
What?
It's okay. It's not a bad setup. It's fun.
Well, I suppose inheritance and the preciousness of life is what we're here for, right? Death is imminent. It knocks on all our doors. And I suppose when I die, you'll want everything. Every damn thing there is to have of me.
I only want what's best for the family, Auntie. For our legacy.
Don't you call me Auntie ever again!
Ladies. There's no need for any violence. My lovely, please.
And you dare to raise a glass?
Really, Henry. It's not the time.
Yes. I raise a glass to our very souls. Because one day, while our fresh corpses might rot into earth, what will we be? Not we our bodies, but we our souls. All that we will have, all that our spirits will have. The memories. The memories, good and bad, of situations new and terse, foreign and wrong. So let's make those sad memories rich, fun, and exciting. Because if any of those poor, sad peasants, pianists, or other worker bees were to live our lives, they would not live them perfectly, flawlessly. And nor do we, my ladies. We live these lives of beasts of privilege. So let us, privileged beasts, leave sins behind that make the tabloids worthy. Give the common man something to talk about. A bread and circus distraction from all his own damn dirty-nailed rugged misery. For they would so much love to sleep in the stained satin sheets that we give them as charity. So let's stain those sheets. Stain them with our privilege. Allow the masses to roll in our stains as if that were a thrill for them. Because it is. And if the charity taker asks, did we wash those sheets before we donated them? Tell them a white lie. Tell them we turned in those sheets freshly cleaned. We turned them in as they are. The impeccable.
Or try the truth. It was the maid's day off.
So, might I suggest, my dear ladies, that we have a little fun?
Thank you. Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. Mike, The Impeccable, that was a really interesting film. Has some really interesting themes going with it. What is the main theme you want the viewer to get?
The main thing that I wanted people to get, I'm not sure if it's a theme or more so an emotion, you know, in many feature films especially, a big thing with screenwriting is, you know, you've got to have a character arc, you know, a character has to be heroic, or he has to become heroic, or she has to become heroic, or maybe has a fall from grace, or something like that. So that's kind of a thing for films, right? Well, for this, The Impeccable, I kind of wanted to turn that inside out. And I didn't really want the characters to change as much as I wanted the audience to change. I wanted, people with a fine moral standing like yourself, like myself, like everybody there at Channel 9 and the audience. I wanted those values to be kind of tested through the speech of Henry at the end when he's talking about the masses and staining the sheets of privilege. I wanted the film to kind of challenge people's, let's call it middle class values, I guess, and just, everybody's kind of raised to be a good little boy and a good little girl, but these characters are kind of despisable in a lot of ways. But I want people to kind of cheer for these characters to have their, wild night of fun despite themselves. Like I really I want the audience to kind of get a little gritty and dirty and slimy, I guess. That's what I was going for. And I don't know if that works or not, but that's the intention.
Okay. Well, and let's pivot a little bit because I know you have a long history in film. And as I understand it, you have directed, acted, produced. Am I missing anything? Writing?
No, acting, coaching, and doing some hosting of Messier Mantra up there and so forth. But right now I'm writing books too, because with this whole worldwide situation, as I call it, I realized that, I've been writing screenplays for 10 years and not all of them get made, which is very frustrating as a writer. So I took A Distance from Avalon, which is one of my screenplays, and I kind of rewrote it as a novel.
Okay.
And I feel good about that. And then I started doing the same thing with Fighter Play Basketball. And the Amazon Kindle Vella app has a really cool way of writing things, like an opportunity for writers to write what they call episodes, 600 words or more. So it kind of helps you, like for me at least, it helps like break up the writing process so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. So people can look up those books, Fighter Play Basketball or A Distance from Avalon on Amazon. And right now I'm working on a pro wrestling trivia book as well.
So Mike, you have written novels. Are you now thinking you're going to continue your career down that path, or do you think you're going to go back into acting?
Well, my acting has actually picked up in the last couple of years. Luckily for me, my friend Tommy DiNucci, who's got a pretty good career going as a filmmaker, he's cast me in 3 of his last 3 movies, I think.
Nice.
One of them is called Mr. Birthday. That's available now. And I have scenes with Eric Roberts, and it's a fun movie. It's just a fun kids movie, actually. So I'm looking forward. I've recently hired an acting coach, like a business of acting coach, that I work with online, and she's very helpful. Anastasia Edwards, really a smart young woman who's really kicking butt with her own acting career, and as my acting coach and other people's business of acting coach. So I think I'm really going to try to get back into acting myself. Seduction of Distance is something, it's a monologue that I filmed last summer here in Florida. Basically, I was so frustrated with the process of trying to raise money for this A Distance from Avalon movie that I said, let me try to do something here as a teaser, promotional teaser for the film. So I went down to this lake, and long story short, I filmed myself about 30 times one hot summer day, and finally got a take that I'm happy with, and that's called Seduction of Distance, and that's on Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel, which is another thing that I've been promoting now. My YouTube channel is actually titled Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel.
Yeah, I
So
saw that
that's
in
another
your
thing I've been
email
pushing.
address.
Yeah.
All right, so now, as you look at your career, moving forward, you've got acting, directing, producing, anything else that you think you want to add on top of that?
I was an acting coach for quite some time up there, back at the old Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House that I think you're familiar with.
I
And
am, very much
I had
so.
a really great class. Oh yeah, fun place. I've actually seen the new Brooklyn Coffee and Tea House, or the new Roadiewood, I should say. The Brooklyn is still open with new ownership, but the Rodywood with Tony Demings is in North Carolina, and I've been there a few times and travels up and down. I've actually been to New England a few times since I moved, and it's interesting with this whole worldwide situation, traveling up and down the East Coast. But acting coach, Dalzen acting and core acting. That was a great class that I ran, and that was inspired by my own acting teacher, Barry Primus. And so, I had a really good time teaching acting and some really good students over the years. David Graziano, Deborah Gagnon, Lawrence O'Leary, they're all people that were in my class. I ended up working with many of them, directing them in films, and had a great time with that.
Okay, great. So, Mike, we've seen you as an actor, a director, an acting coach, and thank you for showing the impeccable. Looking forward to seeing what you do next. So, thank you for being on the show today. So that's been Short Film Showcase, and I'm your host, Katherine Cook.